Well, local reaction. I mean, you were born and raised in Kokona,
Yeah,
which is not too far from here,
right.
and other faculty came from around the country.
Yeah.
You must have had some sort of like, well, you knew this culture better than they did, and how did you act as a mediator, kind of explaining what was sensitive, what fit here, what?
No, no, I don't think so. The If you go to graduate school in a large university like Madison, you don't carry the culture of a small town in Wisconsin very long. You know, your visions get just as broad as someone who's in Illinois or in New York or wherever the case may be. And so it never occurred to me that there might be some way in which I could make use of that upbringing.
Well, just explaining it. I mean, did the new faculty who came here, the students from different parts of the country, did they figure that this was, did they have any transition issues like, wow, these people are conservative, or wow, this is a different kind of thinking?
The only thing I can think of here is that there was this perception of Green Bay as a blue-collar town, and that the university couldn't hold a candle to the Green Bay Packers. It was paper mills and Green Bay Packers, and once in a while the university would be mentioned. This is in the early days, and so in that sense, the image of Green Bay was partially true, I suppose, because the professional segment of the city grew over time, and so the level of people in the jobs that they were in and their interests and so on did change from those early years when we first came to Green Bay, but it was apparent, when we first got here. It didn't bother me. I guess maybe that's what you're getting at. It didn't bother me because I grew up in a mill town, and but those who were looking for more culturally stimulating events and organizations and so on probably were initially disappointed. And we had people who left, who came and they were here for a few years and they left for other jobs and so on. Not sure I don't know what the reasons were, but it happened at least.
What was the impact of the magazine attention, the national attention? You had Parade Magazine, Newsweek,
Time,
Harper, Time?
Yeah, people were a little bit worried about that because that was perceived to be Ed Widener's doing, and he got interviewed quite often for some of those articles, and when you're trying to promote a product or to promote a program or an institution, university, sometimes it's easy to go over the top and say more than what's appropriate. And Ed was not conservative in that respect. He was giving it the label EcoU and the future of the country and all these kinds of descriptions of the campus. And I think it bothered the science people more than it did some of the other folks. But it was, we chuckled about it, I guess, is maybe one way of saying it. Nobody got real upset about it and wanted to, that I know of at least, and who wanted to go to the chancellor and say, wait a minute, you got to tone this down a little bit,
Did the students who came here from out of state, did they mention these media things, or did?
I don't know how they found out about the campus. I suppose that was one of the things that did, bring them here. I don't know about the timing of those those things and the occurrence of these out-of-state students. They came early on, I know that, in the 70s already.
Now, at that time, Stevens Point had already been around for many years, and they trained an awful lot of people in forestry and wildlife and other things. And did they feel they were being cut out, or did they feel like, well, what is this environment thing we've been doing?
I don't think so. We kind of often talked about that, and I think the way we resolved it is that we kind of divided the pie. They were far more traditional in terms of their wildlife programs and the fisheries programs and so on. And Green Bay was more into the ecology side of things, broader kinds of coursework and capabilities than just being a trained wildlife technician or a forester or whatever. And I remember we kind of looked at it that way, that we didn't overlap a whole lot with Stevens Point. And pretty soon they started to get into the ecology side of it as well, so then of course, it's hard these days to remain so distinctive as a university. Students make choices to come to universities based on all kinds of reasons, and I'm not sure where the curriculum fits in to that. They know they can get this kind of a major, and that's what they're interested in doing, and it's close to them, far away, easy to get to, has a good athletic facility. I don't know, all those factors, how they all come into play.
Now, Wisconsin has something like 13, 15, 16 state university campuses.
Yeah.
Did UWGB sort of gravitate toward or align with or develop partnerships with any particular, or is it they all kind of separate? Is there any sort of...
There were attempts to connect up with UWM in Milwaukee in engineering kind of programs, that we would do 3 years and then they finished down there after 2 years or something. That was one thing I know of. At the graduate level, I know there was interaction with Oshkosh to do coursework on an MBA and maybe some other business-oriented things as well. I can't think of anything else at the moment. The nursing program was designed as a nursing completion program. So they come in with a 2-year degree in nursing, and then you finish it with specialties, and that got routed around the state as well, and wasn't connected to any particular campus, but to students who were in other parts of the state. I think nothing comes to mind beyond that in terms of cooperating with other universities. The exchange program, that's something else that's pretty successful. They continue to place students. I think more of them are interested in moving out to the West Coast for a semester or a year, or to a foreign country or something like this, and spending a year in London or whatever. But I don't know about interactions with other campuses.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, this is maybe I already know the answer, but there's a question I had is there were numerous reports in the files of the 70s of delegations coming here from universities from other countries, Spain, Canada, Australia, whatever. And I'm wondering if any of them developed into anything, where some university, there's Griffith University in Australia was mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Athabasca up in Canada.
Yeah.
And these were universities that were being formed in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were going to open in the 70s. So I have to wonder if they adopted or copied.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question. Yeah. To what degree we had any influence on them. I remember groups like that coming through, and but I don't know whatever happened in all those things. I don't know.
Do you think UWGB has a specific reputation or personality among other UW campuses in terms of staff and faculty? They kind of look at this campus. Do they look at it as equal U? Do they look at it as just Green Bay's university campus?
I don't know.
You have no sense.
There was a time when they did have sort of negative feelings about the program here, and then therefore, because it's you know, when we were in that interdisciplinary thing and problem focus and environmental focus and so on, problem solving and things, but then we had difficulties for students transferring in, say from Marinette campus, a 2-year campus at Marinette, or from another college, another university somewhere to transfer in, because we had these requirements that things had to be, you know, they had to have a certain number of interdisciplinary credits, and then we would have something, and they wanted to know, was this equivalent to this course? And so there was a battle going on there for quite a while, and finally, the registrar's office, I think, learned that we need to just address that problem, and so equivalencies could be worked up, and maybe they didn't match letter to letter or 1-to-1, you know, each case, but it was close enough that we said, yeah, we'll give you credit for that. I remember doing that in biology, for example, and in environmental science too. So this attitude, you know, has several roots. I don't know if it still exists or not, because I'm out of the faculty now for 10 years, and I don't hear about it, at least. I think we've earned our spurs, quite frankly. You know, I think that people have to respect what has gone on here, because there's some good work that goes on. Good students come out of this program, and so it takes time. You know, those images and impressions that people have, they think they persist forever in their minds, because they never have an opportunity to see those things corrected or improved. They just carry it with them to the grave or something. I don't know. But, I was just kind of ignored it, actually.
Okay, well, thank you. I think that's about
Good.
it for now.